And I'm Barry Dunbar.
And we're going to be interviewing Barry Dunbar today.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to start off with just a simple thing, like so nobody knows who Barry Dunbar is. Well, everybody should.
If they don't, they're going to.
Yeah. So tell us, when you're like a junior high, picking your nose. You didn't do that, but you were trying to impress the girls in class. What made you become a big Army man and all that other stuff? What was your transition in life there?
Junior high wise, I mean, I was really into basketball while I was now starting to get into it. In high school, I was a basketball fanatic, big Shaquille O'Neal fan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but I could actually shoot, but we're not gonna. But yeah, so big basketball fan, always pretty athletic. You know, I had normal calves and all that stuff, you know. So
normal calves.
Yeah, I was
How tall were you?
Around then, well, I got tall kind of fast because at the end of 8th grade, I was like 5'8", 5'9".
Oh, I bet those coaches loved you.
And the beginning of 9th grade, I was 6'3". So,
wow, did you have any pain through that transition?
Yeah, the knees.
Oh yeah. Oh goodness.
Slaughters, big old bumps.
Yeah, okay. I was on crutches for a little bit, so that was kind of a setback. But after a while, you get kind of used to it. You grow into yourself and.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Your muscles get strong enough to hold yourself up.
And you find coordination
so
all of a sudden.
6'3" your freshman year.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you're 6'6" now, right?
6'6" now. Yeah.
Without shoes?
I was a little twigged then. Yeah.
I bet you
oh yeah. How long did it take for you to build muscle?
Well, probably not until I would say like senior year. That's when I kind of started getting muscle because it was more like, you know, in basketball you run so much you don't really lift too much until you start kind of. You know, as you progress, then it's like, all right, you got to put on some size because, you know, especially when I got to college, you're like, all right, this guy is 6'10" and he's 250. Yeah. So now you have to like start to get the idea of yes, I need.
So did you play in college?
I played my freshman year.
Okay.
And after that, I was just like.
Did you have a scholarship or no?
No, I was a walk-on.
Okay.
A lot of politics and you know how that goes.
Yeah.
They're gonna play the guys that they recruit, things like that.
Oh yeah.
And if they're spending money on those guys, they're gonna play those guys. They'll bring you on. Yeah, you'll be a pure, what they used to call it, pure practice player.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're expending a whole lot of energy and time and all that, and you're just knowing that hey, I'm gonna sit in the stands at the end of the day, and it just.
So you sat in the stands. You didn't even sit on the bench.
Yeah, they were.
Wow.
Yeah, you were like just strictly there for practice.
Practice player. Man. What college you go to?
Slippery Rock University of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's like 2 hours outside of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Where I grew up.
Cool.
Yeah. So
Cool. And now you're stuck on the surface of the sun down here. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'll take the heat though. I'm well, especially now with screws and everything.
Oh,
I don't mind.
Get some pain from the screws and stuff. Right.
Yeah. When it's cold, it gets kind of achy. I get that ice pick feeling every once in a while. So.
Well, go on. Tell us what happened after that.
So yeah, after college, I moved back to Pittsburgh and. You know, tried to show them my brand new shiny communications degree, and of course that didn't go too far because that was around 2006 when I graduated college. So economy was kind of rough. So my roommates who graduated 2 semesters before me, they're like, "Hey, come out to Maryland with us. You should be able to find a job, no problem." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Saved up some money, moved to Maryland. Still, you know, nothing. So, and I'm like, hey, communications.
You got to get a bachelor's degree.
I got a bachelor's degree in communications. Great.
Come
and they're
on.
like,
student loans?
Yeah, student loans.
Oh, yeah.
It got a little
You
crazy.
could be a barista like everybody else.
Yeah. And then a buddy of mine from back home in Pittsburgh, he actually joined the Navy, and he signed me up for the buddy list program thing. I had no interest in joining the Navy. And I show up, and they're like,
yes.
No, bro.
Well, that's the first thing he said. So he's like, you know what the clearance is for the submarine? He's like, you're gonna be walking around like this.
You're gonna have so many problems.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm not even gonna do it to you. Don't worry about it.
That's awesome.
So I left out of the naval office and I ran to the Army guy. I still keep in contact with him. Sergeant. Well, at that time he was Sergeant First Class Walker. He used to play basketball in the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't even know he was a recruiter. And he's just like, man, what are you doing in that Navy office, man? And, you know, you need to come talk to me. What's going on? And I'm like,
it was like right next door?
Yeah. It's in like that.
It's always.
They always got them right next door and they're always yelling at each other.
Yeah.
So I talked to him and he was just like, well, what's going on? You know, you got student loans. And I'm like, look, I just need to square my whole life away.
Yeah, I got this degree.
Yeah, I still got this degree. You know, and it's not doing anything. Because at that time, I was a project manager for a law firm litigation company called Clicks. It was in downtown D.C. And I was only making like maybe $36K a year, and I needed to be making like 45 to live.
Yeah.
So I had
Just,
credit
yeah,
card
just
debt
in
like
there.
crazy.
Yeah,
And it's
there,
like,
man.
hey, go to the grocery store, swipe your credit card, and hope for the best.
You're
you
like,
know? So when he was like, student loan repayment plan, and hey, we'll give you a bonus coming in, I'm like, all right.
Sounds like my next life.
Now you're talking my language, and he's like, well, can you run a 1 mile diagnostic? And I'm like, how hard could it be? You know?
Well, you weren't in boxing or anything. Yeah, you were just basketball guy. So you used to run.
Yeah, but short distance, like mileage kind of sucked.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's a 2 mile for the army, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It kind of sucked. It was a big adjustment, kind of running sprints and stuff, and then now you go to some mileage now. Yeah, so
a little different.
They used to roast me in basic training. They're like, as tall as you are, you should be running like 12-minute 2 miles, and I'm like, yeah, about that.
Yeah.
A lot of body to move.
Basketball's an endurance sport, but it's an endurance sprint endurance
yeah,
sport.
it's a sprint thing. Yeah,
I guess you need to run walk.
I can sprint all like 30, 60s and stuff we used to do. Man, I'd kill that stuff. But you do a 6 mile run, I'm like, substitution here? No, no.
Dang out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so.
And so you were in the army, and then you got on the boxing team.
Yeah.
So what all happened with all that? How'd that go?
Well, I fell into it on accident, really, because when I got to Fort Hood, they had I was an engineer in the Army, so engineers get a red cycle tasking for 3 months to clean up Lake Belton. And right when I got to Fort Hood was the beginning of it. So it's like middle of June, right? That's when it starts. June, July, August is the red cycle tasking for that. And I'm like, okay, I joined the Army to clean up a lake. Great.
Lake Belton's nice, man. We like Lake Belton.
Yeah, well,
Thank you for
Nice
doing it.
because
well,
of
yeah. Yeah, at some point we cleaned it up. So
Yeah.
after like, I think it was like July 5th or 6th, and I was just devastated because you know how you clean up the lake all month of June, and then they have the 4th of July celebration, and then you come back and it looks like never even got touched.
Just garbage.
Oh.
And you just got to
That's
start
depressing.
from square one. Yeah, and they're like, these guys from First Cav, they come out of nowhere and they're like, hey, we got this post-squad boxing tournament going on, and anybody want to box? We forgot you engineers were even out here. You know, and I'm like, well, does it get me away from the lake? And I just was like, it was only me and another guy, and we were the only two that left. I said I couldn't deal with it. I didn't join the Army to
Clean the
up
lake. Yeah.
So
Oh man.
I was like, I'd rather get hit in the face than, you know. So I did.
And you never boxed before in your life?
Never.
All right.
Never.
Cool, man.
I just was like, you know what? Let me just kind
I
of.
got reach.
Yeah. And I was determined because they were messing with me. They were like, well, if you lose early, you know, you come back. So
I
I was
ain't
like,
lose.
I made it all the way to the semifinals, and by then, the cycle tasking was over.
Okay.
So we're good to go. So I was like, even though I lost, I was like, hey, we're back to the regular unit doing regular unit stuff. Great, no more late. So that's how I fell into it. And then they recommended me for all army boxing, but that was also when I had my first surgery and.
Your ankle started going. Yeah.
So tell us about
Yeah. How'd you get
the
injured?
injury.
Yeah. What happened?
the first initial injury.
The first initial injury was in AIT before I got to Fort Hood.
What's AIT for those that don't know what AIT
That's
is?
Advanced Individual Training. That's
Tech school for the Army.
Yeah. After you leave basic training, there's AIT.
Where you got your engineering.
That's where they teach you how to use all your engineering equipment and drive it and turn it on, and they don't really tell you how to use it, but you get the idea.
You'll get some OJT.
Yeah.
You gotta check all the boxes.
Yeah. At least you know how to turn it on and steer. You're good.
There you go.
So, once I was actually graduated already, they were waiting on orders to, because we were holdovers in a sense, waiting on orders to go to our first duty station.
Yeah.
And then our first sergeant at the time, he's like, well, what'd you score on your last PT test? And I'm like, well, like a 280 something. He's like, well, why don't you go to your unit with a 300 or higher? Because I know you can do it. And I'm like,
300 is perfect, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, I mean, I don't have a problem with 280 something either. You know, I'm pretty comfortable with that. You know? And he's like, no, man, you gotta, shock your unit. Show up with the 300 already, man. So I mean, it's not like I can tell that guy no.
Yeah,
You know,
I made a 300 once.
Yeah.
That was good enough.
He's my first sergeant, so I couldn't say, no, first sergeant.
I'm good. I'm still good with 280.
He's like, well, there's a new incoming cycle. They come, and then you just take the PT test with them, and you'll be good. Because like I said, we were just sitting there because we had already graduated. We're just like, all right, I just need a place to go. And I ended up, the guy who was pacing me, because we were trying to run faster than what I did initially. I forget my initial run time, but to get the 300, I need to like something crazy. So I'm just like, well, you're fast. Hey,
Yeah.
let me chase you so I can be faster, you know. And
some good training there, huh?
yeah, how that goes. So there was another company taking a PT test at the same time, and somehow, some way, we all got kind of bunched up. Guy crosses over in front of me, trips over my pacer. They both fall. I jump over one and land on the other one's back, and that's when I first initially broke that ankle.
Mm-hmm. I remember
What'd
this
you
dude.
do? What'd you do to his back?
I just stepped on it.
Well, I know.
He was fine. I mean, they got up. They were trying to help me up and stuff, and I was just like, my foot was kind of like doing one of these, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know about that. But he's like, you know, I still got up. I tried to finish, and they were like, probably a bad idea. But,
Okay.
you know.
Did you get, so you have CMT,
Yeah.
which is Charcot Marie Tooth,
Yep.
right? But so that's a genetic thing.
Genetic
right?
or
Pretty much.
neurological.
Yeah, so
but they didn't find that out until I was getting out of the
I
army.
was about to say you didn't get that. I remember when I was evaluating, you was like, "What?
Yeah, because
your other foot's garbage now too."
yeah. And
so-
that's what they were kind of like. You know, well, remember Dr. Marin? He's the one
Yeah.
that kind of started kind of digging into it.
Dr. Marin.
Yeah, no. So it wasn't until you went to CFI.
Yeah,
that
he
it
wasn't
was
diagnosed.
That,
He just came
properly
there because he
diagnosed
needed an ExoSym.
for one leg.
I'm sorry, he needed an IDEO just to put on because you were trying to stay in at the time,
I
right?
was trying to say.
So this is you had the injury, and then
Still
what-
managed to progress throughout my military career, which was only 6.5 years.
but at that time, how many years were you in?
Well, as far as when I got the injury,
Yeah.
So you had 6.5 years after the
that,
injury,
yeah,
with no
nothing.
Yeah.
surgery.
He still took PT.
You
No,
had
no, I had
surgery,
surgery.
right?
I
Okay,
had
so
surgery.
how many surgeries have you had
Three
after injury?
altogether. So once I had a memorandum. I was supposed to get surgery within 90 days after getting to Fort Hood, but that never happened. And I got that surgery finally like a year and a half later. So
After initial
Good
injury.
old military.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, about that.
Yeah.
About a year and a half later, because I was actually running down Battalion Avenue, and my new aid station commander, he's running the other way, and he's just like,
Why are you running like that?
yeah, he's like, come here, let me talk to you. And everybody else takes off, and he's like, what do you got going on? And I'm like, well, you know, I jacked it up a while back. Da, 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 da. He's like, you need to come see me, and let me see that memorandum. And I give him the memorandum, and he's just like,
That's how we roll. Yep.
and I was like, uh-oh. It's like, you know, you could have probably not been running around like this for some time, you know, if they would have done everything right. So
Yeah.
he starts typing, and you're going to go see podiatry, like, next week.
And who sent you to? I mean, that was.
The aid station commander. He sent me to podiatry.
And then you had some
And
surgery.
I had surgery. Yeah, I had
Okay.
the first initial left ankle surgery.
What'd you have done then?
They had they cut a lot of bone growth that I had, I guess, from just kind of running and flapping.
Just trauma. Yeah.
You start to kind of gain bone growth up in the front part of my ankle. So they
Especially with CMT, yeah.
yeah, so they cut that out. They did a heel shift to try to get my foot to kind of level out because it was still kind of
You were walking on the
supinating
outside.
out.
Yeah.
So they cut the heel out, rotated out. There were screws going this way in the front, and then there's two screws going back in the back of it.
Uh-huh.
And that was a little, you know, that was traumatizing a little bit because, you know, here I am, brand new soldier, and they kept me in the barracks. They wouldn't let me stay, you know, go home or nothing. I'm just
Nice.
like,
Oh,
40,
yeah, for
45
rehab
days
too.
yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
In the
45
barracks?
days in the barracks, and my battle buddy had to kind of take care of me and
Playing some cards.
So yeah,
Man.
so and then, but I mean that's kind of like how the Army was rolling then, I guess.
I
'cause
know,
it was
right?
that transition of BDU, ACU era, and it was like, we gotta take care of our Joes, kinda, sorta, but they're
Yeah.
expendable too. So
Well, that's one of the things we learned a lot at the Center for the Intrepid was that
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the guys kind of got left behind. They tried to develop some units to help, but I imagine it's just the mission's not to
Yeah.
take care of the guys. The mission's for you know going overseas and making sure you're supporting the post
yeah,
and the base. You know, so that's not to take care of guys that were injured.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if it's any better or not.
Well, even the WTU, I didn't know about it till You know,
Warrior transition unit. Yeah, that's where you're getting out of the military to transition you out. You were just stuck.
Yeah,
you were in Killeen, right?
Well, I was in Killeen, and they
Fort Hood.
Yeah, and they were just like, well, at that time, you only went to the WTU if you had something like mentally wrong with you. It wasn't a physical thing.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure how they are here, well, San Antonio wise, but in Fort Hood, it was at the time it was just like, look, unless you're kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, you're not going to WTU.
You're
so
not going to psych,
you did all your transitioning from your unit, so you were subject to, you know, still cleaning, still doing CQ.
It's awful.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I had to do. I mean, when I signed for my VA rating, I was at the board with soldiers. You know, because I was staff sergeant then. And they were like, well, you soldiers got to go to the board still. And here I am in dress blue uniform. And they're like, hey, it's the VA. Come down and sign your paperwork. You're good to go.
Wow.
And then I showed up and they're like, why are you in dress blues?
Yep.
Still working. Sorry. Can we hurry this up because I got to go back? They're like, no, you're good. You're good. So, yeah, definitely got work till the end for sure.
And then you had 2 more surgeries. What else did they do to your foot?
So I had so many stress fractures in the right one from kind of supporting the left one.
Okay.
I finally came and did the same thing for the right foot.
Because you had like club feet pretty much. They were turning in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after the first surgery, that's when my toes kind of started kind of
like hammer toe. Okay.
Because they were normal at first, like I said, something with that first surgery. I don't know what happened, and then they just kind of
neurological, baby. Yep.
And then they came back in, and they finally did all the cut the tendons and whatnot, try to straighten out the toes. I had pins in the toes.
I remember all this.
Yeah,
I remember seeing your images like, oh God.
I remember a few guys
the
that
kids
came
used
through
to
that.
pick with me. That was the only time I felt like submission to my kids because I'm sitting there laying in the bed and they'd be, I'll touch it.
Tweaking your toes.
Oh no!
Yeah, they used to mess with me.
Oh man, it's sitting there with a water gun.
Yeah, or a BB or something.
Yeah. So it was a little rough, man.
And so that was your right foot you had surgery on.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right
not your left.
Yeah, left foot was already kind of shot at that point.
Left was the second surgery.
The first one.
Left was the first. Then he had surgery on his right foot because he did some stress fracture on the right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then what was your third surgery?
That was the toes.
Okay. That was on the right or the left or both?
The right.
And so your left foot, you didn't do anything to the toes.
They wanted to come back again right when I was getting out. And I was like,
is your idea the one that's like your toes dig into it?
Yeah.
I remember that.
One is,
the padding underneath there, he like literally have a hole dug into there.
Maybe on this one, I know.
You just got adjustments, right?
Yeah, it might. They might have swapped it out. Might be able to see.
So he just came from the Center for the Intrepid getting adjustments on this brace, and the CPO, the Certified Prosthetist Orthosist, we'll see what he did to it. You forget in the car.
I brought both my parents.
Look how big these IDEOs are. Look how long these things are. His tibias.
I think I'm still holding the record for it's this one.
So this is a PDE right here. See, it even says it. See if y'all can see that. PDE. I don't even think it's zooming in there, but PDE. And that stands for posterior dynamic element. Look at the size of that thing. Most people are like, but these are cool. What size is this? Do you know what level it is? 7. So this is a 7. How much
it
you
goes
weigh?
up to 9.
230.
230, and you're
6'6".
6'6".
Yeah. He says he thinks I still have the longest one.
Mm-hmm, I think you do. But you can also see here. I don't know if you can see inside there. Let's get close to there. You can see where those toes are in there. This is from his claw toes. And do you feel that in your toes? Does it bother you?
I can feel it in my big toe. I don't feel it in the other toes because I've lost a lot of feeling.
Yeah.
With
I can see some carbon through there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, maybe. I mean, they're great. I mean, this you had your life changed by all this, right?
Oh yeah.
Hold up that Zinsa sock you got there. Or Zinsa, is that a pad? A knee brace?
Yeah.
Yeah. So lucky for these guys, they shock doc. Okay, cool. Lucky for these guys, they have these at the CFI. I'll put a link for them, but these are great for wearing for the knee pad underneath
the cuff.
Underneath the cuff, because man, if you don't, which I have to because I don't have one, I haven't invested in one again because I wore my other one out. Your knee will get rubbed raw.
This is the.
Well, look at your heel wedge. Wow. See, this is a custom heel wedge. In mine, in my shoe is that big, and his are. How long are your feet?
12.
Oh, that's like twice the size of
it. It used to be a 13 until they cut it in half and did crazy stuff to it. I lost an inch.
Lost an inch.
That's big.
Okay.
Like losing an inch. I mean, that's a big deal. I was like, yes, it's big. The foot's big.
Both. Yeah. All right, man. Jeez, man. Okay, cool. So we're all the way to here. Anything else you want to add to that awesome story?
Offered to open my gym.
That's awesome.
Ooh.
Awesome. Yeah.
In Killeen?
No, it's back home in Pittsburgh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went back home to visit about a year ago. I went to a Pirates game, and I had met some underwriter and loan officer for Bridgeway Capital, and they were like, "Well, what do? Do you play basketball?" Of course, you know how that.
Of course, everybody thinks.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Well, no, I box, and this is what I do." And they're like, "Man, we need something like that here." And I'm like, "Well, I'm pretty sure there's something around, but they're just like, no, we're at."
So you going there or not?
Yeah.
You don't like the cold, man.
I know, but it's an opportunity to do it.
I know. I hear you. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And so is this your gym here, or is it somebody else you're working for?
No, well, I actually work for Title Boxing currently, but I didn't want to. Like, I talked to the owner. I was like, well, I'm not like that. I'm not gonna just leave and also open my own gym right down the street. I felt like it was like a stab in the back type of thing.
Yeah.
So, and I presented the idea to him, and how I would do it, and he just was like, man, I love it, and I respect the fact that you were able to come to me and just been like, just been real about it, versus like the shady business, kind of stuff that people do. It's
people are a lot of backstabbers in business.
Yeah, he's like, they'll just quit, and the next thing you know, it's right down the street. Here it is.
There's CrossFit gyms. That's why there's 5 million CrossFit gyms now.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just good. I mean, and I got lucky. Their colleagues called me about 3 months ago, and they're like, "When's the next time you can come to Pittsburgh?" And I was like, "No."
When you fly me down?
So they're like, "Well, we got these. We know Mark and Sean from Bridgeway, and they talked to us about your idea, and we own these couple of big plazas."
Awesome.
Nice.
They're like, "Well, we want to have a gym one because I guess Crunch keeps calling them, but Crunch wants like 10,000 square feet." They don't want to give up that much.
That's a lot of much.
Yeah. So he's like, well, I don't want the plaza to just be like, here's Crunch.
All Crunch,
you know what I mean? So he's like, well, I want something to bring people in that's athletic, yes. But he's like, how well would you work between 25 and 3,000 square feet?
I could work with that.
And I was like, dude, I work with 4 right now. I mean, I can shrink it down. I mean, we have 50 bags in Title.
Wow. So yeah, I've seen your gym. It's awesome, dude.
I shrunk it down to 25, and it's got the same effect. So
cool, man.
I was just like, dude, I gotta at least try.
That's an awesome investment they're gonna be willing to make with you.
Yeah, I was surprised to get the phone call. I was like,
that's
dude.
cool. Well, if anybody needs to help us out, give us a call. Because we're going to use a CrossFit gym to do some stuff with, and then we also have a place where we found a turf field that we can use that they're going to allow us to use, so that we can do some training on that. But
sweet.
Man, it's just out here in this area, the rent, it is insane.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. 'Cause even then, it's like, well, that one, the building that we did settle on, it's 2,700 square foot space, but like right across the street is Best Buy, Target, Applebee's. The mall's like 2 minutes up the road.
Cool, man.
So it's like crazy traffic all day, every day. But he's like, well, you got Harbor Freight next door, you got Pool City upstairs, but I mean, how often do they go to Harbor Freight?
I'll go to Harbor Freight all day.
I mean, you probably would. Until she calls you. So.
It's been 5 hours. Where are you?
It doesn't take that long to get a screwdriver here.
Oh, man, I love going. It's a dangerous place.
I mean, yeah, when you live out in the country, yes. So, I mean, because I was like that out in Kinder. It was just like, I'd sit there at that home base, and I'd be sitting there.
Yeah.
I need all this. How can I write all this off?
And that's what I said. It was just cool to kind of, that they, wanted to bring me there to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Okay, well, congrats. Hopefully, when's it gonna happen?
We're shooting for the new year.
Cool.
Ooh, awesome.
So that's when everybody makes their New Year's resolutions to kind of.
That's right. Everybody's tired of being fat.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they were
Holiday.
like, we like it because they got a lot of people there, I guess, with injuries too as well. So I think that's the other part where you're like, man, we've seen you work, we've seen how you kind of do.
Yeah.
Overcome.
And they're like, and people need that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, if it's cool, I use I have that video of you. With all your boxing stuff, can I use that in like put little snippets and stuff? I don't want anybody getting mad at me.
No.
Because it was awesome done.
He's good with it.
Okay, cool. I mean, this guy, it's a great video.
Yeah, I talked to him. He's
cool.
good with it.
Okay, cool. I'll if I have to send me whatever I have to link to him or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll put
like
that in
a
the show notes.
copywriter.
Yeah. I just want to make sure he gets his because he did Some good video.
Oh yeah.
It looked like a news story. You know,
he loved it because he was just like, man, it's he's never met anybody like me. So he's like, but he's ex-military, but he was like, well, I didn't know that type of stuff was kind of going on. So that was cool from him. I mean, just to give him that exposure. I mean, because he said it himself. He's like, well, I'm used to guys, kind of getting hurt on like deployment, things like that, not so much training.
Yeah.
It's like you don't think about it.
Which that happens more often than.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I remember what was that kid's name? Antiel. Didn't he get bit by like a spider or something like that? I can't remember.
There was a gal that got bit.
Yeah, somebody got bit by a spider.
Rachel had the spider bite.
Yeah. Just like this stuff like that in general.
It's crazy, right?
You're like, you never would have thought stuff like that.
Yeah, that gal lost her leg after a while.
Yeah,
she tried the IDEO. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And there's so many people, so many different accidents, guys falling out of buildings.
Yeah, we had one like that.
Yeah, other guys, they drop a pallet on a guy's foot. And you just running and breaking your PT. I mean, there's lots of people. And this over the years and years of these guys just, who is it that jumped off a deuce and a half.
Yeah.
And he rolled his ankle doing that. Never could do anything right again, because he was carrying stuff the whole time, never got to heal.
Yeah.
So.
And if you don't have that proper care right in the beginning, then that chronic.
Yeah, and that's what the commander said in the beginning. He just was like, if they would have took care of it like how the memorandum stated for me, to get to Fort Hood and within 90 days you're supposed to be having surgery.
Yeah.
And it just a whole year and a half goes by.
And that causes, and then you're still walking, you're still running.
No, the Army ain't going to be like, oh, no worry, your leg hurts.
And so you still have to do PT tests.
It's not like whenever I was in the Air Force, we didn't even have a PT test when I first went in, or they had a test, but you didn't have to do it yearly. Yeah, so it's not like in the Air Force, but Army, like, no, you're taking your test. I don't care.
Every 6 months you're doing it.
Yeah. You better drag that leg behind you. Yep. They don't care.
If it falls off, pick it up, put it on your shoulder.
That's right. You better. You see people this bust, they're just broken.
Yeah.
All right. So with your IDEOs.
Yeah. Let's talk about who referred you, or how did you get referred to the Center for the Intrepid?
Yeah, this will help people in the military, for sure. Yeah.
IDEO.
How did you get that referral?
So for me, that's when I was telling you they wanted to do a fourth surgery. So
for the left toes.
For the left, yeah. So they wanted to do a fourth one.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, because I seen how the first three kind of went.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I'm still not, pain free or anything like that. So it's not like
even more pain.
Right. So it wasn't like I was enticed to do another one. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, well, can I get a second opinion? And I went from talking to a major to a full-board colonel, and she's like, well, she had just came from San Antonio. She was stationed there before, and she's like, you know what, might do you some good. You ever heard of the Return to Run program? And I was like, well, no, I mean, of course not. It's not like they're going to walk around the unit and tell us about that, right?
Right, no.
Yeah.
So she put in a recommendation for me to go down there, and at first they gave me all types of grief because they didn't know who was going to pay for it. And
your
like
unit
that.
did.
Yeah, it's so hard because the unit doesn't want to pay for you in the first place, and then they got to pay for the travel.
Well, and it was a different unit.
It's a TDY, right? You have to get paid TDY when you go too.
Well, no, I was in the same unit.
Oh, okay.
So I was still in the same brigade. Everything. It just now you're you're in front of whole new leadership that doesn't know you. They just kind of know you as this guy who's kind of limping around, and now you're asking me to pay for you to go to San Antonio for 6 weeks while we're doing all this training and HUA stuff, and you should be doing it too. And you're like, but wait, there's a reason why I'm limping, right? Because I can't stop doing this stuff.
Yeah.
So she put it in, and I had to go to the ombudsman at that time because they were just like, you're not going. And
so you had to kind of run it up the chain to almost like IG kind of thing. You had to get somebody to
it's
help
like
you out.
IG for the hospital. So whenever something medically is not being addressed, or you're not getting the care that you need, you can go there. And she was a retired sergeant major, and she called down to the unit, and she's like, look, he's going.
Yeah.
Whether you guys want to or not, you either want me to make a big stink of it.
Look at his freaking feet.
Yeah.
Because you already had your second surgery.
Yeah, three.
Your third surgery. But so I cannot. Okay, and you finally had a referral to come see me. That's when I interviewed you, right?
Yep.
I did eval on you. What year was that?
That was 2015.
2015. And when did your injury happen?
In 2009.
2009. Wow, 6 years, 6.5 years, right?
Yeah.
That's
With
how long
3
I was in the
surgeries,
military.
yeah.
So yeah, with 3 surgeries. All right, and so you were. I remember you came in, and I mean your feet were still like this a little bit.
Yeah.
You still have a little bit of looks like club foot. And then I looked at your X-ray like, oh geez, and of course you're a big old dude coming in too.
Yeah.
And you were fitted. Was it Dale that fit you?
Yeah.
So the CPO fits you, and then did you stay for the Return to Run program?
Yeah, I stayed 6 weeks there.
You gave him 6 weeks. That's
Yeah.
pretty.
Well, I mean, you got
'cause I
fitted.
was
So
the-
he gets what happens. He got casted and testers done, and then you left. Came back 2 weeks later, right? Pretty much.
for 4 weeks.
And then he left for 2 weeks. So he got fitted, or he got the tester, and then they made it for him. Then he came back and he was there for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, so the
Yeah.
6 weeks training.
6 weeks all in one training.
Yeah,
so that's
because
cool.
I was
That's good.
because I was dual IDEO.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah,
initially,
that was our excuse to get you in longer, because
Yeah.
usually it's just 4 weeks. Yeah.
yeah, it's normally 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But
So
nice.
I mean, but it was good that we noticed that too. Where yes, I had a little bit of strength in the right foot more than the left, but we still were like, just watching me walk, and you're like, still doesn't look right.
Let's get him too.
Yeah, but I mean the care in itself, not just from you, just from everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just was like a sigh of relief.
That they actually took the time to look at you and
Yeah.
take care of you.
Yeah, I was just like, what is
And now,
it felt
now
weird.
6
It's
years
like-
later, 3 surgeries after.
you're not used to
None of these
that.
people care.
Yeah.
Nobody's supposed to care about anything.
I mean, and even just having the VA specialist down there looking at my stuff, everything. It just was like because that's when they noticed the other screw that was broken in the foot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's right. We saw that. I remember that now.
Yeah, and they were just like, 'cause the 2 that went across the front
Mm-hmm.
part of my foot. There's another one that's like a third one that's broken sideways this way.
We took extra X-rays. I remember all that.
Never
You could
got
see it.
never got
It was
documented
sheared
or
off,
everything.
never got
And
documented.
they couldn't pull it out then after that unless
he
you
said
did
if you pull it out, he was
So
gonna
it's
lose
still you still have a broken screw in your
Yeah.
foot.
Well, he's wearing an IDEO. He's fine.
Well, I know,
it.
but
Not
still
not
pain
always
though.
fine. There's
pain,
some,
yeah.
some days I feel like I could be sitting here and it almost feels like an ice pick.
Yeah.
Kind of jabs me a couple times. So it's and I don't have to be because they'll ask me at the VA, well, how do you de-escalate the pain? And I'm like, I just kind of put my leg up and try to, all right, come on, get it out of here, and putting ice on and stuff like that.
Well, no, because ice on a screw that probably makes
it
it worse.
doesn't make it any better.
Yeah.
So it's just like they try to tell you put some compression on it or whatever, and it's like But I've been accustomed to walk around with so much pain. I mean, my threshold for pain is a little different than most, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're a strong guy.
Yeah.
So how do they help out the IDEO to help you out functionally?
Yeah, because a lot of my pain is due to my foot flexing up. Because, like I said, all that bone that they cut out, whenever I do, like, say if I was to stand on the edge of a step and really kind of get down in there,
Close it.
yeah, it would fire up big time.
Okay.
So the IDEO keeps me level to where I'm not reaching that point.
Okay.
Also, if I press on the gas, then that was the other part. Like me walking, you'd hear that kind of.
Like a foot drop.
Yeah, I mean,
Kinda.
big time. It's not. I can't move it at all. So there's no type of, range of motion, nothing. No side to side, no up down, and it's just I just call it my flat tire because you're just walking. You're just.
So you don't have the muscle strength to move it.
No, and that's what the CMT. That's where Dr. Merritt was like. It's got to be something else.
I remember that.
He's like, it's because the surgery that you had. He's like, it should have came back. But being that it didn't come back, that was the issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's like, you did physical therapy on each leg. You did 8 weeks of physical therapy on after each surgery, and nothing
Yeah.
came back.
Yep.
So that's the scary part.
Yeah. CMT is not a fun diagnosis to have, but this can help people with CMT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so they help you functionally. And so you went from, obviously you were in the Army, still having to do Army things without them, and then you came to us and you were able to do stuff. How long did you stay in? Did you start your board during that process to get out of the military?
Yeah. So once I left here, I went back, and then they started the med board from there.
Okay. Did you take any more PT tests after getting the IDEOs?
Yeah, I tried it.
How'd you do?
I didn't pass the 2 mile.
You didn't pass the 2 mile?
I maxed the push-ups and sit-ups.
Of course you did. You're a freaking boxer.
Yeah, my sergeant major, he's like, I already know you got these in the bag, but he's like, but can you pass the 2 mile with these braces on? Let's see.
Okay.
And, at the time, they're about, 2.5 pounds a piece.
Yeah.
And I did all right the first mile, probably like maybe an 8-minute 1 mile.
That's not bad.
and then the second mile just kind of like started hurting pretty bad towards that last quarter mile. You know, started kind of feeling like you got ankle weights on.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
So
They're heavy.
I tried it. I gave it a go. You know. So,
Okay.
you know, but wouldn't do it again if I had. No.
Yeah.
Now there's some people that can go like I forgot that one guy. He that's what he did. He did
Yeah.
marathons and he does them in his IDEO, you know,
Yeah.
which is great for him. But you're not a distance dude. No.
So for the
And
2
you're-
miles, not.
and now you're adding weight onto it too. So
Yeah,
that's the other
yeah.
part.
So how often do you break these bad boys?
Probably at least. Well, at first, because remember we had the older ideals, so they were almost like these, but they had the struts.
2 struts, yep.
Yeah, the 2 strut ones that lasted me probably like every 3 to 6 months.
Oh,
So every 3 to
months.
6, and so there's people that civilians pay $9,000 a piece for that. Yeah, so that if they wanted a new one, if they broke it, they have to pay another.
Well,
$9,000.
if they needed 2, that would have been 18,000.
Yeah, 18, and that's without anything else added to it.
Yep. And then these ones, well, this itself, the strut doesn't break. For me, we use Loctite because the screws used to pop out for me all the time.
Yeah.
But
Is this a component that moves?
yeah, so it'll normally just separate from the foot plate. I haven't broken a foot plate in a long while, just because I kind of understand the
Mechanics?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like you know how to roll off of it versus to kind of slam into that front part.
Yeah.
Remember we did all that cool.
Oh yeah, we worked on a lot of that with you.
The chips. Take your chips.
That's Joe's specialty. Hold your potato chip.
Hold your potato chips. Yeah. So I don't really break the front part too much. Like I said, if it separates, last time I think it broke from up top here.
And it was like the carbon fiber broke.
Yeah. So this plate will just separate from the bar itself, and the screws will still be Loctited in, and then I have to send it back to the Center for the Intrepid, and they slap on a new one. And
That's one good thing about the PDE. So we've talked about this, like the one that Hillary and I have. Hillary has struts on hers. I have one that had struts that are screwed in.
yeah.
And then he has a PDE that if it breaks, you just take that top part off, melt it in, and they send you a new top part back because they already have your cast over there. They already have your mold. And that's what's great about it. Now, if the other one, like the ExoSym that they're making, it's a solid device. You break that cuff, you don't have one anymore.
Yeah.
And unless you were rich and you bought 2 for that right foot,
Yeah.
you're stuck without that for however long it takes them to make the other one and charge you $9,000 to send it back.
Yeah.
And hopefully it fits when it gets back to you because it's not like they're going to go see your processes at the Center for the Intrepid.
Yeah.
You're up at, you got Gig Harbor you got to pay for a flight to. So it's really tough for a civilian to get it. And so we're trying to figure out what we
And
can
how
do.
many people could benefit from it, but
Oh, yeah, so many.
doesn't have the
Awesome.
opportunity
Yeah,
for
I get messages. I mean, even from people find me on social media and they'll, hey man, how did you get that?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, well, I'm ex-military. It's different for me.
Well-
but it's it's civilian people. I met a guy. He was he's a little older than me. He was actually blown up in the Boston Marathon. Remember that
Oh,
one,
wow.
like
Yep.
10 years ago. I think
Yep.
it was. And he had an idea, and I was like, well, he said it was like almost like an act of Congress. He said his
Oh, yeah,
wife,
I remember him coming.
yeah, his wife worked for somebody in D.C. and they were able to kind of get him.
They had to
It's
get
all about who you
approval.
know
Well,
and
it
how-
was like an act
yeah.
of Congress. He had to have
Yeah.
sign things from the Secretary General or something like
I
that.
think so.
They had to sign it saying yes, they can come. And right now, literally, I just got off the phone with a kid
Yeah.
this morning. He won the San Antonio Marathon back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
He started rock climbing, fell, hurt his right foot. He's trying to get. He's like 5 minutes from the Center for the Intrepid, but he can't get it.
Can't get it.
He doesn't.
No.
Nobody has TRICARE VA, right?
Wow.
So he's talking to me. He's insurance actually approved for him to pay 80% of it at Gig Harbor, which is great because it doesn't pay for nothing.
Right.
Anybody else.
Yeah.
So he's doing well with that somehow or another. Aetna said they would.
Aetna.
Yeah, so as Aetna said they would. So he's going to go to get. I told him like honestly because he's wondering about Fab Check.
Mhm.
That's the kind of IDEO-esque.
Right.
But I told him honestly, if your insurance is willing to pay 80%, go to Gig Harbor. Ryan's awesome. He invented it. He can fit you.
Right.
But and he only has to get one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's 80% of 90? They're going to pay for 8 times 9
Which
is
is-
what?
yeah.
7,600. He has to pay 1,400 of it.
That's not bad.
It's still
For
terrible,
life,
but yeah.
for life,
yeah.
for
yeah,
life-changing
yeah.
device that.
Yeah,
'cause
poor
he's-
kid's about to get married.
Yeah, he's walking around pretty good. I mean, he said it was rough for him.
Yeah.
I mean, already through that traumatic experience,
Yeah.
but now not being able to walk and things like that.
And so this is somebody reached out. You get people reaching out to you though, huh?
Yeah.
So if they're civilians, let them know us. There's another guy named Scott Davidson. He's in Vegas. He has a thing called Living Adaptive. He has clubfoot. He has bilateral ExoSyms.
Okay.
And one's a Fab Tech. He wears them both, and he's trying to test them out. He's trying to work with insurance right now, see what he can do.
Gotcha.
And we're also going to build a directory of CPOs, certified prosthetist orthotists that can build the Fab Tech at least, because people can't afford $9,000. If insurance ain't paying for it, it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
A lot of people do GoFundMe's and stuff, but we're gonna build a thing of orthotists, prosthetists that can build the Fab Tech, because there are some that attempt to.
Right.
And they know bueno, because they don't know what they're doing. It's hard to fit.
You can cause more injury.
That Dell has done
right.
for you, and how we've had to tweak it on you so many times, right?
And we're still tweaking.
Yeah.
And you said 6 months, 6 months. You would
and
have
you
to
break
go.
It, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, breaking it in the sense, like if I break it, they'll send me the original mold again. But then it's like
you got to tweak that back.
You got to tweak it back. So like today, I went down there because I was getting rubbing on the outside of my ankle here from the one that was shipped to me.
Yep.
So it's never like a perfect 100% shipping match.
It's tough. Yeah,
it's so tough. You do have to kind of take that TV time out and, hey, let me get down there. Let me make sure that, hey, we can fix this thing so we can stop all this rubbing. You know?
So we're going to find a prosthetist near you to help you get what you need.
Yeah.
All right. So they cause pain sometimes. Then do the IDEOs cause you pain, or only when it's rubbing?
Well, rubbing, yes, but sometimes just long periods of sitting.
I know what you mean, man. Yeah.
Because you are locked in pretty good. I mean, your legs do go numb, unless like if I'm on a plane or something like that, I have to take them off from time to time because it'll start to irritate pretty good. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I mean, not physical pain outside of what's rubbing.
Where did I wear mine that one time, Hillary? I just wore it that one time. I forgot where. It was just recently, whenever we were going with Tim or something like that. But I wore mine. Mm-hmm. And I drove in that thing. I was like, this is awful. Yeah. my foot was going numb. Yeah. But I mean, if you can't feel your feet, rock on, right? But it was
sometimes you feel it in other places. Yeah. That's the other part.
Yeah. And
like driving with them, like I have to utilize pretty much my whole leg.
So do you drive with them?
I can, yeah.
You can, but do you?
Like when my foot's feeling okay, I'll use my foot. But if I need to, yeah, I can. But they've also given me the handicap accessible grant and things like that. If it gets that bad.
We got everybody on that grant back in the day. Yeah.
But I'm just like, look, I'm trying to fight it to the very end.
Was that through the military or VA?
VA.
So the VA had one for people that if you have an ankle injury, there was a grant. I don't know if it's still going on or not, but they would retrofit your vehicle. I forgot what the grant was for, but
it's a one-time VA. They purchase the vehicle for you, and they fit it for handicap accessible.
Not bad.
Not
bad at all. I'll take one.
I still got the van, but they just said when you feel like you need it, you just call the number and they take your van and they make it handicap accessible and then they bring it back. So they're
cool.
They just asked me like, "Are you okay? You still need it?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna use it."
Did you get your soccer mom van or what?
Yeah, I got a soccer mom van.
Nice.
Minivan,
huh? Yeah. Soccer dad.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Did you do they really help with pain? That's one of the questions you wanted people to ask.
Yes, they definitely help with pain. Because normally I would say, walking around without IDEOs, I'm about a 5. Just walking around. But if I was to do some sort of physical activity, my pain is going to jump up to about a 9 or 10, depending on what I'm doing.
So 5 without, 9 to 10 without functional.
Yeah.
Right.
And so and if you're just sitting there without anything on, sitting there watching whatever boxing on TV, nothing on your feet, how your feet feel?
That's when I'm kind of sitting about a 5. Because I always have that numb.
You always have about a 5-ish?
Yeah.
Okay, always at a 5, okay.
Yeah. So even now, like I said, I've lived with it for so long.
Your old friends.
Yeah, I'm trying to just go to the back.
Yeah, because if you focus on it, you can cause more pain, cause more issues.
So when you're wearing so you're always at a 5, even with IDEOs on. But so what's your pain level when you're functional with the IDEO on? How high does it go? Does it stay at a 5?
It stays at a 5.
Nice. So that's your 0. That's your new 0.
Yeah, that's my 5 0. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just thinking about that, like something as simple as say a power skip.
Yeah.
If I did a power skip outside of IDEOs, I'd probably be hurting for the next 3 or 4 days.
Just think of skipping just more powerful.
Yeah, like Super Mario Brothers. One block broken and then it's now your leg's broken almost.
Yeah. So he's able to stay at his his beginning pain level, wear an IDEO because it unloads you under the knee, right?
Yep.
And so what's this? So it unloads you under the knee, and so the VA wants to stop letting you have the IDEO and use something else because they say it's bad for your knee.
Yeah, they're
I disagree
basically
with them.
they're basically saying that being that the IDEO transfers all my weight up, that it's gonna eventually start hurting my knees altogether.
And that's just their reasoning.
That's basically it. So they're just like, well, they feel like the IDEO is a bad design. They feel like,
Oh wow.
They have other things in place that are supposed to make you feel a whole lot better. So I said, well, you guys can try, because this thing has been working for me since 2015, and I haven't had any issues besides rubbing and whatnot. But other than that, if I can stay at a 5, I'm down for it.
And then when you put another device and
and then
just
like I said, the care is different. Because it's when I go for the center for the Intrepid, it's almost like an uplifting experience. Because even dealing with the VA now, it's still different.
Yeah.
Where you're a number, let's hurry up and get you through. Where Center for the Intrepid is always like, hey, time out, let's see what's going on, let's fix it. And they've always been like that. So that's always been like the, when I go there, it's like, all right, it's like a sigh of relief.
Yeah, and the multidisciplinary approach. You have everybody in every department looking at you, working with you together.
Yeah, and that's the best part, because when John was there, John would be like, hey man, that's looking good, or maybe you should kind of turn it this way or something. You know what I mean? Just the colleague, how they are as colleagues. They'll do things like that.
Yeah.
And they work closely with the doctors. Like Dr. Marin was there. He was the one that kind of pointed out the Charcot Marie Tooth. Just seeing how I am and seeing how my foot was shaped. Taking those TV timeouts to let's do some extra stuff here. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if it would have ever gotten noticed if I would have just kind of med boarded out of Fort Hood. I think it would have just been like, get him out of here.
Yeah.
And the screw would have got missed, all that stuff. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, hey, it says on my write up, hey, you got 2 screws in the upper metatarsal, blah blah blah. And then you look at the X-ray, and there's this one crossing it, and you're like, that can't be right, is it?
Yeah. So when is the VA trying to shoot for that? Like time frame, or is it just kind of been said kind of in the air?
They said it's supposed to be lighter, and for how active I am, I potentially would want something lighter, because I do boxing and things like that. But lighter doesn't always mean better.
Well, yeah, it means
you know what I mean, because I'm still a pretty heavy guy, so I feel like if you just give me a piece of plastic, I'm gonna break it.
Well, and they'll learn that too pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah. Well, what are you doing? The stuff that I always do, and it's just
don't be that hard on it. Yeah. You need to be, right?
I need to be, because that's what kind of that's my not just my livelihood, just kind of how it always was. You know what I mean? So, like Wayne, he'll tell you when we used to do PT in the mornings. There were just certain guys that really take it seriously, and there are certain guys that don't.
Oh, yeah.
So it just, for me, it was like, hey, I'm going to do this thing to the max every day because I want to get better. I want to, So Wayne says, hey, put this parachute on your back and run. Hey, all right, cool. Let's see if this hurts. Let's do it.
Yeah, and push it.
Yeah, and I'm going to push it. And
I remember.
So
I remember John being like, why are you pushing these guys so hard? They come in with a broken foot plate.
Well, we're sending guys out back to battle, some of them.
Yeah, you have to.
We had SEAL Team 6 guys. We got guys that are going to be boxing. We had high-level athletes that need to live and function to these things. I'm gonna break the idea if he sent me a piece of junk.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all. Not saying he made me a piece of junk, but you got to make that thing robust, and that's a problem. So you got a prosthetist. They have a prosthetic technician that's helping out. You get a new guy or a guy that know what they're doing, it's going to break. It might not fit well. You might hurt the guy. So you got to have a process. That's why we're making a directory of prosthetists too. Yeah. It's not like I can send them to John or Dale. What I mean?
No, you can't.
So I'm going to send them who I can, the best person I can. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and you got to think about that. Something as simple as rubbing, it plays a big factor.
Skin and bone does not win against carbon.
It just changes the way you walk. You don't want to do too much of nothing. it's just an annoyance. I mean, yeah, could you fight through it for a little bit? Yeah, but imagine imagine it being your livelihood and you have to be active and you have to, you're taking days off of work because you got a scar on the side of your leg that's not healing.
Yeah. A couple of centimeter sore.
Sick of care.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that only goes so much, right?
Only so far. Yeah. Then you just cause more rubbing somewhere else.
Yep.
Okay, so where were you? What y'all did?
We were just kind of kept on talking about what we were talking about.
Well, I got Dragon Riders on. So
yeah.
Well, like I was telling her, I said the VA, they want they want to make something lighter.
I'm fine with people trying to make things.
Right.
Why not? Why not advance the career, right? But they don't have the guys there helping develop it. They should be asking questions to our guys.
Yeah.
And they're not. And like I told her, I said they're gonna make me some light piece of plastic. It's probably gonna look great.
Bring it to me, and we will. You come to all the training you want to, buddy. We'll have our 1 week, 2 week, 4 week training. You come there, and we'll
and if we can't break that thing,
we'll let you know.
I'll probably break it on my own at the gym.
Yeah,
anyway.
just doing jump rope. Yeah.
You bring it to me, we'll put you through the paces, man.
Yeah.
No problem.
And that was the thing. I was just, I've never been to I've never shied away from pain in a sense, but it's different when this stuff feels internal. It feels like it's hindering you. Then it's different.
Yeah.
Because I've dealt with pain for so long. You know what I mean? So and if I can walk a 2.5 mile walk in 27 minutes with a jacked up foot, why not? Because that's the stuff that the Army used to make us do. Well, you can't run. Okay, walk it in this amount of time. And you're not even seeing the damage that the walking part's doing.
Oh, probably more.
You're just, sick, flat, tired.
Yeah.
And, to them, it's like, okay, well, you got a P2 profile. It's all good. And people don't see the repetitiveness and how it really affects you later on.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many broken dudes. In the VA, hopefully they come up with something decent to help out, but we'll see. Because that's the scary thing. And then what are they going to do for training? What are they going to do for programming for people to learn how to use this thing appropriately, right?
Yeah.
Because would you have been happy with it without any training?
No.
Right? You wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, wouldn't know what to do. I mean, the proper run techniques, all that. I mean, like we said, when I was there, we'd be like, man, if they teach guys how to run in the Army.
You should just have that program before people even go into the military.
Just the run part.
Just in general,
Because you don't know, some people have different, shapes of feet and all that stuff, which is understandable, but
cadence.
The mechanics of it. You're just like, man, that could save a whole lot, just that part.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother egg to swallow. That's true. The people's run form is terrible. Almost everybody. So people think, it's a natural thing. It should be natural.
Yeah.
It's called physics.
Right.
You're going to go forward. But the thing is that I think it comes from, because you videotape kids running there, you run pretty good.
Yeah.
You can see
perfect.
them. There's not, unless they have an injury, like Mason limping right now. But these kids, they do it, and then I don't know if it's coaches telling you stride out, or a lot of people blame it on the big cushion on the bottom of that shoe, on the heel.
Yeah, because then it gives you a safe spot.
Yeah.
And then you start reaching in front of you, and it causes a braking effect up the knee, up the back, up the hip. I mean, all that. And next thing you know, you have back pain, hip pain, knee pain, ankle pain. Somewhere in there, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
3 times your body weight whenever you hit the ground running, at least.
Yeah.
3+.
That's just nuts. Okay, especially for heavier guys.
Oh yeah, big dudes.
So maybe 6.
And you got that torsion. I mean, you think about those long Oneesies.
Yeah.
You'll see them. We're gonna do some stuff outside. You'll see how long those legs are. Let's see.
So, did amputation ever cross your mind?
For me, pain-wise, yeah. Just because, I didn't find out about it really till I got to the CFI, as far as that even being an option. But I was more in the let's try to preserve it, and last line of defense. Yeah, maybe I wasn't gonna hold like, hey, let's just chop it off and let's grow. It was more like, all right, let's see if all this stuff works, and then
because he had opportunity to know that there was something out there that could possibly.
Well, he didn't even find out about amputation at the CFI.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I said, they don't tell you about that stuff until
Well, that's the thing. That's the problem at CFI. You see these guys that had an ankle issue, and then they get an amputation, and they tried the IDEO. There's one dude. It was pretty bad. His foot was like this big around. He's my size, and his foot was just terrible looking.
Yeah.
And all the junk he had in there, he got blown up. And so I don't blame him. He needed to take it off. It's Matt.
Yeah.
So he wound up doing both.
Yeah.
And he had baloney amputation, and it's great now.
Right.
But what happens? Something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Then you get higher, and then you got your nub goes from being that long to being just then above knee, whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
You ask any above knee amputee if they would rather have a sore knee, sore ankle, they would say, please give me a sore knee, sore ankle, because having above knee amputation is not fun.
Two joints to maneuver
so
than one.
Right.
Yeah. And so you'll never run again like that way.
Right.
It's a big deal to have to hop to the bathroom whenever you're 80 years old too, versus limp to the bathroom.
Right.
So, well, and in the civilian world, I mean, there's no limb salvage.
It's not like you can just jump in with John and Dale.
Yeah, that's not even an option. It's just like, well, you cut your leg off.
Because some of these guys that had an amputation just go back and see him kind of whenever they want, and they roll in with a bag this size. He has one of those big old military bags, and they drop it down on the ground, full of prosthetic limbs or IDEOs, and yours. I'm guaranteed they don't cost $9,000, but that's what they cost everybody else.
Right.
But there's a limb in there that costs as much as my house. You know, it's like $150,000, almost $200,000 for that limb, and they're getting it in the military. So that's a big deal, military people. When you think about it, if you go on the outside, the VA ain't hooking you up like that.
No,
yeah.
They're not.
All right, so let's go with what else you got? Anything else? We need to go with
the boxing.
Let's
so
boxing.
You got the IDEOs. You got out of the military. How did you return back to boxing?
A buddy of mine who I was in the Army with, I would say my best Army friend. He found out about title boxing, which was at the time probably about 15 minutes from my house, and he's like, "Well, you used to box before, right?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah," because at that point, I was at the house. I was kind of in that depression mode where you're out the Army, and my wife went back to work, and she stuck me with Carter, who was 8 months at the time, and I'm just like.
This is not the life I want to live.
I know, because it's a hard transition to just hit the brakes. You go from go, and it's like, and mentally you're just like, what just happened? Mm-hmm. So it was tough for me. I mean, I'd sit at the house and watch him and drink beer and kind of
get fat.
Yeah.
And then you have more time to think about pain. Even so, right?
Yeah, too. And everything started to hurt. That's when I started having lower back pain. Once I left here, it was really tough. I shot all the way up to about 270 pounds.
Ooh. And you're how
230 right now.
Oh yeah. That's a pretty. Yeah. It's big.
And even then, I mean, it was all kind of neck and
everywhere,
and and then the power gut too.
Yeah, dad bod.
With the beer and an 8-month-old.
Yeah, definitely had the 8-month-old dad bod going on.
Nice.
And so it was just tough, and trying to figure out what your next move was gonna be. And he's just like, man, he used to box, man. Come try this class. Cause they were offering a free class for Black Friday, and they were like, man, if you go down there, you take the free class, and if you like it, you get to sign up for free. Because normally it's like $200 to sign up or something like that. So. Like, hey, what do I got to lose? I used to box in the Army, and I need to get out of here and hit something anyway, And then I just fell in love with it. It was 8 rounds of boxing. It's 3-minute rounds with 1 minute active rest in between, and I mean, you just.
And this is the gym you work at now. What's it called?
Title Boxing Club.
That's cool.
Of Killeen.
That sounds like fun. They have a couple boxings out here. I don't know what they're called, but it sounds like fun.
Yeah, and it really gave me a chance to kind of. Well, I mean, it's predominantly upper body, but. For the most part, I put my IDEOs on, I go over there, and, I started to kind of feel that motion that we used to talk about, where you kind of just have to feel it. Mm-hmm. You can try to teach it all day. Yeah. In a sense of how to balance and how to move and all that. But, the bag swinging and everything from you hitting it, but then now it kind of forces you into that whole.
It's good. Yeah.
You got to move side to side, and it's got to feel good because I got to be able to throw more punches back. So I kind of figured that body thing out of it, which we all have to do as people anyway. Anything athletic, you have to kind of because me explaining it to them now as a trainer, you get to see, and I cringe, and I'm just like, you get people that can't even unlock their knee, and they're normal able-bodied people. Just, for some reason, they just feel like boxing involves me locking both my knees out and hitting the back.
Probably the worst thing. You lose everything.
And I'm just like, please.
Like, why can't you just do it this way?
It's hard to teach people, ain't it?
So
it's hard to teach people.
So it definitely kind of fires up my whole, old military NCO mentality a little bit sometimes, and I'm just like, but it's passion because I want them to really get it.
Well, yeah, and you want them to be successful.
Yeah, and injury free as much as I can. So
It's tough.
But so I fell in love with it after a year. It was funny. Like I took the 5 o'clock in the morning class, and the trainer never showed up, and I just was like, "Hey, I got it," because I'd already taken classes for like a year at that point, and I got down to about 2:35-ish in that year time, and I just ran the whole class. And the owner calls me. He's like, "I looked on the camera." He's like, "Did you teach a class?" I was like, well, yeah, because it was like 30 people outside. You know what I mean? At 5 o'clock in the morning, so I didn't want them to be like, well.
It's money too. I mean, people are spending money.
Yeah. I mean, because memberships at the time were like $59 a month.
That's not bad.
But it's. No, I'm just saying they're doing that, and the guy didn't roll in.
I know. Yeah, that's when you fire somebody.
Right. Well, and that's when he was like, "Well, would you ever thought about teaching that class? Because that's the kind of class I always went to was the 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You ever thought about teaching that class? Because I do have an opening."
Apparently.
Yeah, and I was just like, I mean, it was kind of a no-brainer. It's like, you're going to pay me instead of me paying you? All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Switch. Yeah. You actually make money on it.
Yeah. So cool. It just kind of kept the ball rolling. So, here I am, 4 or 5 years later, and now I'm the head trainer. So I'm in charge of training the new trainers, and keeping everybody together.
Make sure everybody shows up to do their training.
Yeah, I do the schedule. All that stuff. Yeah, I'm that guy.
That's good, man. Yeah, that's from military that comes in with that.
Yeah, and it just gives a new purpose because, like I said, that's what I lost really, and injury kind of sucks along with it, where you're just kind of stuck. You don't know what to do. You're like, I'd go on interviews and they'd see my IDEOs, but they can't ask what are those, according to. Work policies.
Really?
You can't ask somebody, why are you in a wheelchair?
Yeah. So you have to but you can tell when you're talking to somebody and they're doing this.
Yeah.
And you're like.
Well, and I mean, they're a device, but I mean, they look kind of neat and interesting and different.
But
they got wings, bro.
Yeah.
But when you're going 5-6 months not finding any job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're going on interviews and stuff, and they're talking to you, and they're like, so how many years did you do in the Army again?
What's wrong with you?
Well, technically they're not supposed to.
I know.
Yeah, but you can tell in their head.
You're like, my eyes are up here,
they want
buddy.
They want to ask it so bad, you know what I mean? How did you? I just want to know.
Did you ever offer up any information on them?
No. I just wanted
Mr. Stoic.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if they were going to bring it up and make it an issue. But I mean, it was hard for me because I was still, I was having so many VA appointments, things like that. So finding a job was really tough.
I'm sure.
It's just because no job is going to want to hire you in a sense, and they know you're averaging 3 appointments a month. You know what I mean? They want you to be at work. They don't want you to be. Well, I got another VA appointment. Oh, I broke a brace and I got to go down to San Antonio. Sorry, don't know how long I'll be there, but we'll figure it out when I get there.
Yep.
So this job was perfect for me because it's part-time. But like I said, now it's easier because I make my own schedule.
Yeah.
But even then, they were always supportive of it. They were just like, look, if you break anything, you got to go. Hey, we got tons
because then you're not functional to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, man, you're a selling point. Look at you. You're a beast.
Yeah. So
and that's cool stuff. I'm telling you, man.
And that's what really helped a lot of the disabled veterans that are coming to the class now. When they take that first class for free, they normally try to pair them up with my class because it's not just the selling point. It's just to help them believe that, hey, yes, if this guy is in here with these things on, then he's doing it.
Yeah,
that's right.
I love it. For me, it was Mr. Tony. If you remember the gentleman who passed, the older gentleman,
Mr. Tony,
the one I was training, the older guy.
Yeah.
He when they told me his story, he came in on a walker and he had Parkinson's and. He started just hitting the bag while holding on to the walker.
Oh, and there's so much research between Parkinson's and boxing. Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know that he passed away.
Yep, he just passed away probably maybe 3 months ago.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah. That's good for him. He got some stuff going at the end. How long was he there?
He was there since they opened. They opened in 2014.
Awesome. Good for him.
And he stopped going his last 2 years, but he was just like, his wife called me and he doesn't want to work out with anybody but you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, well, because we not like we talked or anything. You know what I mean? So we're just like, so he's requesting me, and she's like, well, yeah. because you're the only one that understands what he's got going on, because your stuff's kind of similar.
You can feel it, yeah. That's awesome.
So, and it was like the coolest thing to give that back. You know, I told her, I was like, I don't even want you to pay me. And she's like, I gotta give you something. But you know, that's just how she is, and we still keep in contact, and I check on her and stuff like that. She comes into the gym sometimes. I think she had brought me some cookies the other day.
That's what they do, man.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Like, look, I'm at a gym.
But I'll take one.
That was one of the worst things.
Or 3.
That was the worst thing at San Fran Trip. There was Girl Scout cookies, candy everywhere. Everybody thinks that's going to help the guys get better, but it actually causes inflammation and makes it worse.
Right.
Oh, man. So how is it? I mean, obviously, boxing has made your life better. It says how. I hear a bunch of good stuff. And you got a better description of it than just what you've said?
Well, boxing itself, I think it just gives me that focus and that drive. And it's not like a team sport where I can blame my misfortunes on somebody else.
Yeah. If you get hit, it's your fault.
So that's why I like
that guy's better. Yeah, it's his fault.
And it hurts.
And I've kind of always had that mentality where, you know, I don't make excuses for anything. You know what I mean? I never have, and I can't just, you know, even now I'm just like, no. But I love it because the people who are around me, you know, they've seen where I've come from and where I am now, and they're like, man, so many people respect it. Mm-hmm. And like I was just telling Dell, I said it's a double-edged sword when I actually compete, because, you know, they wanna. It's like, I don't want to be the guy that beats up the guy with IDEOs on, you know. But it's also like, I can't let the guy with IDEOs on beat me up either. So they're kind of caught in the crossfire, and then they get hit and they're like, scratch all that.
Yeah, you're going down. I'm gonna take him out.
So how are you doing on your boxing? You winning everything? You killing them?
Last time I fought was in 2019, but my record still stands at 3-1.
All right, cool.
But I'm supposed to be fighting again soon.
Any knockouts?
Yeah, always body shot knockouts.
Always.
Yeah,
body shot knockouts. Because me being so tall, they never really expect to go to the body. So when you do it, it's like, you know, don't air that part.
That's awesome. No, it's good, man. I know what's
yeah, people don't.
So you have another one coming up in June, July, you said, right?
Yeah.
Where? Or you know the specific
one's
date?
Supposed to be in Laredo, but the only thing with like me wearing IDEOs, we have to do like almost like pre-check, almost, because they have rules and regulations. What we found out, so the last fight I had was supposed to be in Houston. Everything kind of checked out. I sent them videos of me boxing, but there's still that gray area of the head official has the number one say so.
Oh.
So that's the sucky part where, you know, here I go all the way down to Houston. We get in the ring, we touch gloves, and the head official comes running in there, and he's like, "Hey, you can't box with those on." And everybody's like,
"You're right, I can't."
Yeah, I don't really want to box without that.
Yeah. So and we're just, and then he calls the doctor over. You know, the ringside doctor. The doctor's like, "Hey, I mean, he's got a fight card, right? He's got a record, right?" He's like, "Well, yeah." Well,
he's not gonna take him off and beat him up.
Did he pass a physical? Well, yeah.
He's not kicking.
So it's been kind of a sore thing where I have to constantly do that part. That's like the major hurdle where it's like I have to, if there's an event coming up,
like it's an issue,
I have to call them and just verify, hey, is it all right if I show up with these IDEOs on? Because I'd hate to drive all the way to Corpus Christi for an event.
Yeah.
And to only get shut down to say, hey, sorry, you can't fight with those.
Show this to the head official real quick.
Yeah.
So what about what about like Paralympics and stuff like that, or is
there... they were doing those. Remember they did the amputee. I remember
that really cool poster up at the CFI. Did you get involved in any?
No, right when I was getting done at the CFI, that's when they had that event, but they haven't had one since.
Oh, okay.
And he actually called me. The guy's name is Shaman. He was calling to see if I would take over the whole idea of it all.
Well, now you're going to be a little busy. You're going to be opening up your own place eventually.
Yeah. So
and do you have a name of your new place?
Beef It. Yeah.
Oh, Beef It.
Marty rocking my shirt.
Yeah.
Double IT? Was it? Does that stand for something?
Boxing, fitness, intensity, interval training.
Ooh.
Because that was when I did my first fight. I was a lot of the MMA guys that was at the gym. So I got kind of stuck at 230 pounds, kind of plateaued. Mm-hmm. But for that first fight, I had to be under 205. That was the heaviest opponent that they had.
Go.
So they're like, we'll let you do it, but
205. Can you starve yourself for a week and not drink anything? And
so they gave me like 6 weeks in advance, which was good. So I weighed in at like maybe 201 or something like that.
Dang.
But it was,
and what'd you do?
My face was like,
You're like,
but the thing was, like, I was already kind of in shape because I was already taking the classes and everything.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to start mixing up the interval training along with it. So a lot of, you know, low weight, high reps, things like that. And that's what kind of gave me the idea of Be Fit. Because Title has rules and regulations, and they just want you to box at the end of the day.
Right.
But, you know, after doing kettlebell workouts and a lot of that stuff along with it, I'm like, well, why don't we do this in the class?
Do some interval training, yeah.
And I tried it, and they're like, no.
That's too fun.
Yeah, it's too much fun. And someone get hurt, and I was like, well, you know, and that's when I said, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it my way. I want to do the things.
Yeah, so they can see your shirt. Yeah. There you go. There's Be Fit.
Yep. So be on the lookout.
Oh, it's awesome. It's going to be up in
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh?
Yep.
Wow, it's a long ways.
Yeah, but eventually I'll hopefully to expand and come back here and do something too.
There you go, baby.
Yeah.
There you go.
Would it be Killeen area?
Probably close. I would probably say like Temple, somewhere like that.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to do it like right smack in the. That's why I'm not doing it in Killeen now, because it's just too much kind of. I wouldn't say just competition, but there's fight gyms. There's, you know, like I said, I'm already at a Title. I can't just expect people to, all right, leave Title, follow me.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
go down over here and do Be Fit. You know, it's kind of like a stab in the back thing, and that's not me.
Okay.
So.
I got you. Well, that's good. Good for you. Go.
Yeah, where can people find you? Do you have Facebook, website, Instagram?
Well, right now, just my name, Barry Dunbar. I'm working on the actual website and stuff too. But right now, we're trying to focus on getting everything done for the physical address and everything like that. So when I get the actual website up and everything,
we'll share that for you whenever that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have your Instagram. I'll share it on the account.
Okay.
That's pretty much what you use all.
Yeah, Barry Dunbar or Instagram is what DunBeezy28.
Yeah.
that was my army nickname, DunBeezy.
Yeah, DunBeezy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put that on there, and I'll find everything I can, and you share whatever you can too, so that we can make sure that everybody can follow you.
Yeah, sure will.
Because we all the 100 people that watch these, or less.
Yeah.
But then what else? How can others benefit from boxing? You already talked about VA guys and guys that are injured doing it. They come in, they can relate with you and see that, hey, this can be done.
Yeah.
What else do you think?
A lot of them have like, lower back issues or running, leg issues, and they just kind of lose hope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they feel like, hey, I'm not mobile. There's nothing I can do. But it's like, being in front of a heavy bag using your upper arms. You know what I mean? It's a game changer because. I remember when I finally came back after I got out the Army, Dr. Marin, he was getting ready to sign me up for the hand bike thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, does this count as far as, arm movement? And I was showing him how I do in the class. He's like, oh, that's perfect. He's like, scratched all the hand bikes.
You don't need that,
so he's like, you don't need that. He's like, this is way better. Do this.
Yeah.
And of course, we do core work at the end. So you get to develop your core instead of using your lower back.
Prevent low back pain.
Yep.
Okay. So without the IDEOs, where would you have been?
Probably still on the couch, honestly.
Yeah.
You would have gotten med boarded eventually.
Yeah, med boarded and
wearing crappy FO somewhere. Right?
Yeah, who knows? I was at that standstill point. It was tough. I didn't know, what my VA rating was going to be or anything. It was just like, here, and now I'm out, and I'm like, okay, but I still got these kids. I still got, you know what I mean? And I'm, I had the ideals, but I was still I was getting discouraged along with it because they were just like, man, nobody wants to hire a guy with ideals on,
Yeah.
And it got, like I said, it was like a mild depression. I started going to counseling through the VA. That helped out a lot because they were just like, man, you're like 33, 34, man. You're all right. Give give it some time. You'll find something, but I was just like, so honestly, I don't know where I'd be because the ideals kind of kickstarted that whole idea of you can have those possibilities.
Staying active.
Yeah.
So and like the return to run program helped out a lot, right?
Yeah,
learning how to use it.
Learning how to run, learning how to walk with them, and I wish I could have passed the test. It would have been great, but.
Well, that's one thing I feel like we kind of lacked on, but it was so hard to do that kind of training.
Yeah.
With the guys.
Timed miles.
Trying to do miles because we do so much functional training with you, just trying to teach you how to move in them and to run in them. Right. But weren't. I was like, well, I would love to sit here and teach you some interval training and do. Well,
and that comes with time, you know, and that's individual progression.
And I know there are people, and some of the guys that were more adamant on their run, which you didn't want to do because you're not a runner.
I felt like at the time, if that's what's keeping me in, keeping me, you know, helping my family and whatnot. You know, I kind of went all out when it came time. Mm-hmm. You know, I just said I gotta see what's going on. I gotta see if I can do it.
So that's one thing we're doing more of is training in the pose method, and then we'll also do the some interval training and run training whenever we're here with people that are coming to see us.
Well, and it's all going to be subjected to.
Yep, it's the other problem. I'm not sure, you were there in what year? 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I left in 18. So I don't think we didn't have the functional mobility program yet, did we?
No.
So when we were there, we'd have like 30 patients sometimes, 15 patients out on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
And some of them would be high level like Barry, like ready to run, ready to crush it. And you had some people that were almost coming out there with walkers.
Well, trying to figure out how to walk again. Yeah.
And so we separated those programs up. We had functional people, functional mobility program, where we're teaching them how to walk, how to step over sideways until we could progress them to return to run. Yeah. But it's hard to do that with all those folks. Mm-hmm. And so that's the one thing we're doing right now. We're only going when our program starts, there's going to be 4 people, or only 4 people going to be allowed. Mm-hmm. And we have to interview them so that they come, so we can make sure people can run.
But I think also that helps because it kind of gets you to hone in on those individuals versus so many people, and it's like it turns into a blur.
Oh yeah, you know? Oh yeah. But the guys do like to commiserate.
Yeah.
And that you kind of you really help push each other. I learned that a lot. That y'all would really help each other out.
Especially with our group, right? We had a really solid group. Just the guys that were just kind of into it. I'm not sure like where they are after. I get in contact with what was the other guy's name? The one bald head guy. I forget his name.
Yeah, a lot of bald head guys came through there.
It's like Joe.
Joe?
No, it was one of the guys that were in our group.
I know, I'm joking.
Yeah, and he'll mess with me every once in a while because he'll see me do something crazy on Facebook. And he's like, man, I wish I could do that. And he's like, man, I don't even wear my IDEO anymore.
Oh man, yeah, that's that. Yeah.
And he's kind of like, you know, he's like, I gained 100 pounds. You know what I mean, that type of stuff. And I'm just like, why would you want to just not use it?
Yeah, it's like you got in that rut too, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the hard things about transitioning out of the military with an injury. Mm-hmm. And so other guys just transition out. Sometimes they have a hard time coping with that change. I was more than happy to get out when it came time for me, and so I progressed quickly, but I didn't have an injury. I couldn't imagine with an injury kind of get out and having to deal with civilian life.
Yeah, and I think that the counseling we had on the way out the door helped too.
Oh yeah.
I forget the doctor's name.
Kaiser?
Yeah.
That's good stuff. He's awesome.
Yeah, he kind of, as even just coping with having IDEOs,
with pain, yeah,
just because people are gonna stare, they're gonna ask questions, they're gonna, and you just, they're gonna come up to me and, hey, you're tall, and where's those? And, you know what I mean? Because, there's times I'm in the grocery store, they're like, did you lose your legs in the war? And I'm like, no,
they're still here.
They're still here, and it's just like. They're gonna be inquisitive. They're gonna want to know what's going on. So I don't mind. I come up with like a funny scheme or whatever. And no, I was synchronized swimming and I went to dive off the side of the pool and
man, on my legs.
Oh, you gotta have fun. You gotta have fun.
Yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh, and then you'll see the face change and it's
that's
funny.
Yeah,
I mess with them a lot.
That's funny. No, that's awesome, man. We're proud of what you've done and look forward to what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so we'll share your Instagram, everything like that. Yeah. I always ask people, so what we're trying to figure out how to make a rating system for physical therapists and stuff like that, and CPOs now too. How do you?
Well, and he went to therapy multiple times after each surgery.
Yeah, so how do you rate? How would you know if you have a good therapist besides just seeing this face
or this one?
Yeah,
to me, I would say that it's just a natural caring thing. You know what I mean? You feel the love. It's never like, you've never made me do anything that was just like, just do it because I said so. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's more like, let's challenge you because, you already kind of sense that, hey, I was that challengeable one where it's like, hey, we're going to go to Power Park Fitness and we're going to run this whole thing, all right? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, you just jump right over things anyway.
Right, but I mean, just,
like a step, right? There's no.
But it was, I was just, man, that's cool. Like, how come nobody, they don't do this stuff, And I was like a kid in a candy store, you know what I mean? And just, just to be able, do the rock climbing or the non-strange ranch, all that stuff. It was just like, it was always something kind of taking you outside of your comfort zone.
Yep, I knew you were the guy that anybody could push whenever. It was like the first week you were there, and you were doing you had 2 IDEOs on, and you were doing a minute. Was it a minute of jump rope?
Yeah.
And you were doing on and off on. I was like, how many freaking jump ropes are you doing? I hate jumping rope.
But I did it with boxing. But it was just, I was just happy to be able to do it and not be in pain.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing of
without increasing your pain up to that 9-10 and it's staying there all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
cool,
that was like the cool part, man. It was just like I was like a kid in a candy store again. And that's,
man.
And like I said, you guys helped out a lot. Where it didn't feel like you were in the Army still. You know what I mean? It felt like, this is a genuine place where you want to be. That's going to help you kind of take it to the next level.
Yeah, you weren't Staff Sergeant Dunbar. You were Barry.
Yeah. It was just like, it's like a sigh of relief. And that's how I feel. Even when I walked in the door and I just, man.
No more military for a second, right? Yeah.
And it's just like, you don't have to go, just the San Antonio in itself, just, they kind of a little bit more relaxed than how Fort Hood was at the time. And, Sergeant Majors will come up to you and talk to you and ask you how you're doing.
Instead of lighting you up about something, yeah. Sir,
what are those things on your legs? Give me 50 because you got them on your legs just because.
Yep, there's something else.
And I got the Fort Hood and I had these on there. What are you supposed to do with those?
You got a medical waiver to wear that?
Yeah. And where's your profile? And, it just.
It's a whole different ball game when you're out in the real military, right?
Yeah. It was a little bit of adjusting going on.
What they call it? They called it Fort Sham instead of Fort Sam. That's what they called it because the guys are just they're training, always training or because that if you look at Fort Sam, that has that where the BAMC is, where Fort Brooke Army Medical Center, it's like a little wedge, and they called that Fort Sham because there was no. It's all medical. There's really not that much military discipline going on there.
Yeah.
And then you go over to real Fort Sam where they have the AIT base, and you just see kids running around getting in trouble all day long. So it's a whole different ballgame over there.
Yeah.
Something that these guys come over, they're like, oh, this is great. I don't have to be in the military right now.
Yeah, like I said, you feel the love, and that's pretty much everybody. I mean, even when Miss Catherine, she was there, Natalia, they were all. Everybody was like. Let's just take care of these guys, and you felt that. You didn't feel like, oh no, what am I doing? Who's gonna yell at me today?
Yeah.
It's just like, but it helped because you didn't feel pressured. You got to do it on your own and your own speed.
Yeah, cool, man.
Loved it.
All right. Well, you ready to go outside and do some drills?
Let's do it.
Yeah, thank you for coming and doing this interview. Appreciate it.
Anytime, anything you need me to do.
All right, we'll see you next week then.
Same time, same place.
I'm down.
All right, cool, man. Let's get those bad boys on. We're gonna show you some drills outside of what this guy can do, who would go to 9 out of 10 pain if he didn't have this.
Yeah, or wouldn't be able to do most.
But we're going to take some videos without them on, just so people can see what your poor feet look like.
Okay.
If you don't mind showing that off.
Well, and show the bag that you came in here
with.
with.
Take the bag with me.
Yeah. So we'll videotape all that.
Start knocking stuff over.
I know.
Here's my bag.
Yeah.
Oh, bag.
Yeah.
This is Barry. Look how tall this dude is. There we go. Hillary, go stand next to Barry.
Positive role model.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's how tall Barry is. 6'6", right?
Yep.
And Hillary is all of
5'3".
5'3". All right.
Quarters. No.
Yeah. All right. So this is Barry's poor feet right there. You can see the left leg is got some atrophy. Right leg probably has some atrophy as well.
Yeah, I used to have some calves, man, when I played
back in the day.
I had some calves.
All right. So what we're gonna do now is Barry's just gonna walk back and forth with his shoes. I'm not gonna make him do it without his shoes on. So just so you see his function with it. Are you fused? Yeah. So you can see those ankles there. So. And he's does that increase your pain just walking?
No.
Not too bad.
I got inserts in the shoes.
Okay. So you can see just the way those shoes, and that's some foot drop going on there. You see that flapping of the feet there. All right. So now we're gonna put some IDEOs on and show you the difference. So now when you're walking with these, show people how to walk. So just heel to toe, right? So you have to roll over people. So what do you feel with that?
It just feels like a natural roll. I don't feel floppy.
Yeah.
I don't hear the slam like I normally do.
So I tell people it's like whenever you see somebody with a boot after you had an ankle sprain, you're wearing that boot. It has that heel rollover underneath it, right? Okay, cool. And this all pertains to how thick the wedges are, how heavy the wedges are, everything. So that's kind of a big deal. All right. Go ahead and can you jog in place? Any pain? Where do you feel it unloads you at? What are you feeling when you're doing that? Because there's nothing going through the ankle, right? That's what people are worried about.
No.
Is this going to hurt my ankle?
No, it doesn't hurt your ankle at all. I kind of just feel it around here. For the
So yeah, so a lot of times I tell people it unloads you right here, because below the amputee, it unloads you right there. So that's where it picks you up. Sure, the strut will bend. Hillary might have got that on the camera. That camera, whenever you're hitting it, you can see that strut bend a little bit. But that's what it's all about. Because most people have a couple degrees of movement in their ankle, so that they don't have that pain. And there's also a lot more bones in that foot too that'll move. So, and that's what your prosthetist has to figure out. Cool. So let's go ahead and show off a little bit. You want to do some ladder drills? Let's just do some left, right, left, right. There you go. 1, 2, 1. Take off that heel. Good. There's a nice little ladder, ain't it? Long ladder.
No, it's not the. You gotta really get the toes in there.
Right. Good. Press again. Beautiful. Nice. You're moving around like you're a boxer. That's right, man. That's right. That's great. All right, so let's just do a lateral through, keeping those toes forward. So one thing people get when they have these is, well, we need to show people that the spin out of that leg. You know, talking about they do that. So when we work on a lot of keeping those toes pointing forward, so go ahead and I do this a lateral there. So keep the toes pointing forward. Trying to run on those. It's okay if you don't hit perfect. Those are small.
My legs like, no, you can't keep it that small.
And so, excellent, man.
All right, Hillary, what were you saying?
I was asking you, you really feel like you needed the 6 weeks, or do you think you could have, had what you needed in less than that in training?
No, the 6 weeks were ideal. Just the, like I said, the mechanics of it. It's not something that you can teach in a day.
Yeah.
Sort of like boxing. You can try to explain it. We all have the same, punch count in a sense, but the form, the balance, everything, it takes time, and you can't just rush into that. Especially with somebody like me who's never, done those things, or just learn how to run. Period. You know what I mean? When you think about that, just where your arms should be. You know what I mean? Like some people. They just don't. It doesn't click right away. So, I think it's ideal that we do it in that amount of time. If not more, we didn't want to leave, honestly.
It's hard to get. It's hard to break up with the patient. Very hard to break up. That's why you put that date in of the discharge so they leave.
Yeah. For us, it was like we don't want to go. Because you're learning so much and you love it and you're excelling and you're getting back into shape.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel good.
Yeah, a lot of guys were kind of worse off than I was. And I thought I was in pretty good shape.
You get that good camaraderie going with everybody too.
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
Yeah.
Hello, bro. It's about to get tough.
When I got out of high school and college, man, I went to the Army, picked up boxing. My first duty station here at Fort Hood, started boxing with Richard in 2009. Suffered some injuries throughout the years, resulting in the loss of use of both feet and ankles. So now I have to wear these cool IDEO leg braces. But to me, it's like a second chance, to suffer some injuries and be able to come back. After going through the Return to Run program there in San Antonio at the Center for the Intrepid, they found out that I had CMT, which is short for Charcot Marie Tooth Disease, which affects all your secondary muscles. So when you think you can, move your foot and you can't, that's because those secondary muscles aren't there. So to be able to box again is like the greatest thrill of all, you know what I mean? It took some encouragement from friends, especially Richard believing in me as well that I could do it. I had the skill level still intact, from boxing from before, but I just had to learn how to maneuver with the new, kind of new issues in a sense. like I said, now I feel like I'm a much better boxer now than I was back then, you know, even with adversities going on. Now I'm in the position where I'm able to coach and give back. There's no better feeling in the world. I mean, CMT can affect, well, it affects 1 in every 4 people actually, but between the ages of 6 and 60. But it usually doesn't take effect until you become stagnant. So after suffering my first ankle injury, I had broke my ankle. That's a lot of downtime, which gave the disease time to kind of creep in as I was healing. The doctors were starting to get alarmed, being that I wasn't getting any use of muscle back. My legs started shrinking, and they're like, man, what is going on? You know what I mean? So that was what made them go into it further, because, you know, you do 6 to 9 months of physical therapy, something's supposed to come back. And when it didn't, it was like, hey, you know what I mean? We don't know what's really going on, so they started looking into it more. And I'm just glad they did. You know, there's no cure for it. The main thing is just to try to stay active, because it can affect all your extremities, to include my arms. So that's why this is important to me, is to stay punching, you know, because I don't want the same thing that happened to my legs to happen to my arms. You know what I mean? So I keep pushing. I average like 3,000 punches a day. It sounds insane, but I mean, to me it's normal, because if I don't, like I said, I run the risk of the same thing happening to my arms with my legs. There ain't no arm braces, you know what I mean? So I want to be able to keep pushing. I try to, you know, just be as normal as I can, even though I have to deal with these. I mean, but nobody's ever faced me in the ring and been like, that guy feels off. It's more like, I still got to watch myself with that guy, which you kind of do. So I love that fact.